This is Times Radio.
Welcome back. Ben Reid's film Innocence received 4 nominations at the British Independent Film Festival. It also recently won a prize at the Krakow Film Festival. It starts with what appears to be a terrible accident, but when a detective questions a young man with Down syndrome spotted at the scene, they uncover a crime that no one saw coming.
Someone died yesterday when your brother was on duty. It could mean he's in a lot of trouble.
I don't know what happened.
Can you identify this man?
But that's my little brother.
Ben Reid has said that growing up watching thrillers with his younger brother Tom, who has Down syndrome, he was struck by the fact that on the rare occasions when there was a character with Down syndrome, they were always the victim. He wanted them to have agency. I've been speaking to Ben Reid and to Tommy Jessop, who stars in Innocence and has Down syndrome. Ben starts the interview by talking about the experience of winning the Silver Dragon Award in Krakow.
The jury unanimously decided that our film was deserving of the award because the film focuses on humanitarian issues as well as filmic ones, and they felt that because we were shining a light on an underrepresented group in society and on screen, that it was a worthwhile winner and recipient of the award, and we were very proud to get it.
Well, that's wonderful. You left triumphant even though you never got to go there.
Exactly.
The film sets out to challenge stereotypes of disability on screen. I wondered what you'd been frustrated by in terms of previous portrayals, if there were any.
Well, the ones which I've seen and the ones which my brother, as we mentioned earlier, has Down syndrome, seen, more often than not, we feel that it's tokenism. And we feel that there's a case of showing people with Down syndrome in a very one-dimensional light. So they're not given the well-rounded characters that other people who don't have Down syndrome are given. And people with Down syndrome, just like you and me, have wants, needs and desires. They have passions. They have the capability to be kind. They have the capability to be angry. They have the capability to rally against things when they feel that they aren't in their favour. And that's what we wanted to do with this film is, for the first time in history, really, to put a character with Down syndrome on screen who has agency and who is involved in a very morally ambiguous crime where there is a debate to be made whether or not that crime should take place and whether or not the character with Down syndrome is someone who should be championed or not. Is he a hero? Is he a villain? We wanted somebody who is an adult to be given an adult role and to star in an adult film, which is very dark, but also very exciting and a crime thriller, which, again, is not a genre which is afforded to people with Down syndrome.
I wanted to ask you, why the crime drama? Was it specifically because it feels so unrelated to Down syndrome, or was it a particularly good narrative vehicle as well, I suppose? Did you set out, by the way, because what I may not have mentioned properly is that this is a short film. Is that at the moment, or is that forever? Did you set out to make a 20-minute film, or is this a sort of elongated trailer?
So it's very much a film in its own right, but we've now written a script for the feature, and the feature is going to broaden on the themes and the storylines from the short, and it's going to be filming in South America and the UK. And
that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We're definitely still in the process of working in terms of getting it into production. We're in pre-production at the moment. But, that's a very exciting thing for us all who's been involved in Innocence to kind of move forward with. And we're hoping that's going to push further the portrayal of Down syndrome on screen. But to go back to your point you were making with regards to why the crime genre, we felt that the role that Tommy has, the lead role, it plays on the detective, the way they underestimate and the way they mistreat the character with Down syndrome is very much representative of potentially the society at whole. That maybe the viewer would see the boy with Down syndrome, the man with Down syndrome, the same way that the detective would. So we wanted to play on preconceptions of when you see somebody with Down syndrome on screen, what do you think they're capable of? And that allowed us to then do a tricksy whodunit murder mystery plot.
One of the things that's absolutely amazing about this film, and I have to say I really loved it, all 20 minutes of it, is just the tension. And I know that that's something that's probably a little bit easier to sustain in a short than in a full-length feature. Is that something that you're slightly worried about transferring? And how did you manage to instill so much tension? I mean, the action kicks off right in the opening scene, doesn't it? You don't waste a second.
No, I think with a short film, every second counts, every line counts, every gesture counts. So in some ways, to make a feature is easier than to make a short because you have more time to get to know the characters, you have more time to let the plot develop and progress. So this was really like, somebody described it as like a Swiss watch, where every different part and intricate detail of it all has to match for it to work properly. So it took 2 years to write the short, and it took 2 years to hone it with my writing partner, Owen Gower, to get it in that place where we could tell the story and realise it fully within the 20 minutes. So the actual feature film is actually proving easier to write, and will be an experience which will kind of hopefully expand, like we said, on what we've done already with the short.
It's interesting, that's what authors say as well about short stories, that they're actually so much harder to write than full-scale novels. Maybe that's a feature we can make in the future. I just did also want to ask you, Ben, what films you were influenced by, because there really is a wonderful sort of noir atmosphere to the piece.
Yes, I mean, I'm a huge fan of film noir, and I love Fritz Lang, and I love old classic film noir and films like Double Indemnity. But I was also influenced by more modern noir, I guess. I mean, Usual Suspects has a key influence. If we talk too much about Usual Suspects, we're maybe giving away plot points for the viewers to watch it. But there is something to be said about the way in Usual Suspects, for example, one of the characters pretends they have a disability because they know that makes them appear weak in the eyes of the viewer and in the eyes of a detective. So what I wanted to do was to spin that 180, to flip that on its head and say, because people maybe perceive people with Down syndrome to be weak, does that mean that they underestimate them? And can somebody with Down syndrome who's smart, intelligent, use that for their advantage?
Well, that's a perfect cue for you, Tommy. Without giving too much away, you play a protagonist who isn't necessarily the good guy. Did you enjoy the role? Did it feel like a departure from the sort of parts you normally get offered?
I think it's probably even more fun than my previous roles.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do like playing someone that's showing really powerful emotions, and he wants to protect someone he really does love, and he takes control, he thinks things out, and he also plans carefully, and I had to shout, swear, and be violent. It's all for love.
An awful love and a wage. I mean, not many of us get paid for that, do we?
Well, that's true.
So do you feel that there isn't a great range of roles out there for actors with Down syndrome and other disabilities? Do you think there's a lack of imagination, perhaps?
Yes. Because I reckon there should be even more. And in the words of Hamlet, we fools of nature are wondrous too, and we are all different, just like anyone else.
Well, I know why you can quote Hamlet, because you've actually played Hamlet, haven't you?
Yep. And I also do wish that even more films and TV shows will realise this and write even more powerful characters for us.
You heard him. That was Tommy Jessop and director Ben Reid talking to me about their film Innocence. If you'd like to watch it, and I really recommend you do, go to innocencethefilm.com, and hopefully we'll be seeing it in feature length soon.
Across the UK, on DAB digital radio, on the free Times Radio app, and via your smart speaker. This is Times Radio.